It's getting worse and worse. I keep telling myself it could be a gift rather than a curse, but it's getting worse. A 49-year-old normal working woman with grown-up children doesn't just develop an additional faculty. The first couple of times could have been chance, of course. My neighbour, who I hardly know, called round about 4 or 5 weeks ago. "Donna, love, have you got anything I can wear to a funeral?" "Oh gosh, what's happened?" I asked her. "My brother-in-law dropped dead last Monday, quite unexpectedly." "I'm sorry," I empathised, then inadvertently added, "He'd have been 58? I don't know where this question came from. It seemed to be channeled from another realm. "How did you know, Donna?" "Oh, suppose it was just a guess," I lied. "Anyway, have you got a black frock or something?" The second time was even stranger. I was watching News at 10 and the regional news that followed it. 3 deaths were reported, and each time just before the age was announced, I guessed correctly. Well, it wasn't really a guess. I knew it to be true. Deciding all of this wasn't very scientific. I called my sister-in-law and asked if I could have a meeting with my nephew. I knew he was studying genealogy at our local university and would have access to any number of family trees. Time to add some science to the mystery. "Auntie Don, what's all this about?" Daniel said, striding eagerly through the hallway the next day. "You said it might help my research," he continued, "so I've got a few family trees with me." "Thanks, Daniel. To be honest, I don't know if it will help you, but I need to check something out and I need it to be approached scientifically. You're an academic, so I guess you'd appreciate that." "Well, I'm intrigued. What do you want me to do?" "Choose any family tree and give me a rough context if you like, but just don't mention anything about the age of death of any of the people. Name about 10 people who you know to have died from the family tree, and record my answers. I'm going to suggest to you how old they were when they died. Please don't tell me any results until the end of the test. Is that okay?" "Fine by me," Daniel replied. "It sounds a bit like a party trick. Anyway, it's a Russian family, mostly 19th century characters. So you say the name, I say the number, then you go straight on to the next name," I suggested, rather assertively. Gleb Novorod, 57 years old. Maria Novorod, 22. Boris Rostov, 15 months. Olev Chernigov, 61. Yuri Chernigov, 42. "Auntie, this is too spooky. I can't go on. How are you doing it?" "Daniel, please continue, I beg you." Andrei Bogolyubsky, 50. Sergei Bogolyubsky, 75. Vladimir Viceroy, 9 years old. Svetlana Viceroy, 79. Pietra Viceroy, 68. "So how did I do?" Daniel looked pale and confused. "They're all correct. What's the trick? Is this a wind-up? Mum found my papers, told you in advance, and you've committed them to memory, yes?" "No, Daniel. It's something that's suddenly developed in me." "Well, I don't find it funny at all," he continued, before storming out the house as if he'd been humiliated. This ability continued for some weeks, but I kept it to myself. One scientific experiment was all the proof I needed. I became accustomed to numbers popping into my head, and it didn't seem to be causing much of a problem. But as I said earlier, things have taken a turn for the worse. There's a predictive element to it now. I mean, I knew Bowie was going to die, and I knew Leonard Cohen was going to die. How did I know? I was listening to their music, and numbers flashed into my mind. 69 for the former, and 82 for the latter. Over the next couple of weeks, it happened with 3 more celebrities: Bruce Forsyth, Keith Jegwin, and Ken Dodd. I was desperately thinking of ways this might be a gift rather than a curse, but I couldn't think of any. Then, one evening, after work, I came home and found Brian sitting in the armchair, looking rather exhausted. He never came home from work earlier than me. "What's wrong, honey?" "I just don't feel well, Donna." I could tell he was serious, as that's the only time he used my full name. Then it happened. The number 59 flashed through my mind. Brian's 59th birthday was this Saturday. I broke out in a sweat, but tried to focus on him. "Can I get you anything? Are you in pain, darling?" "I'll be fine, don't worry," he said, not very reassuringly. "Maybe we should go to A&E." "No, I'm just tired. I'm not in pain." "Shall we watch some TV then?" I suggested, "and see how you are in half an hour? I'll make a nice cup of tea." In the kitchen, my mind wandered. What if he dies soon after his birthday? Shall I suggest a holiday? Can I tell anyone? The kids? What if it's all untrue? People will think I'm mad. I can't say it. People used to get burnt for this kind of thing. The only thing that switched my mind off, momentarily, was the sound of Brian coughing loudly. "Honey, I really think we should go to a hospital. I mean, now." Brian showed no signs of protesting, so I helped him to the car and I drove. It's Friday now, and I've been visiting Brian for 2 days. The doctors don't know what's wrong, but they've just moved him to intensive care. I've called the children, who are both due to arrive soon. They would have come for his birthday anyway. I can't stop thinking about this curse. Perhaps I just thought of the number because Brian looked unwell on Wednesday. Nah, it was more than that. It's Sunday now. Brian died on his birthday. The 3 of us were at his bedside. I fainted because when I glanced at Susan and Terry, the numbers 24 and 27 came into my mind. Terry is 3 years older than Susan, and they've just booked a holiday in New Zealand together.